Yes, actually, it's the High Department Natural Resources Director, Jim Zehringer, and he also has with him his Chief, Glenn Cobb. So we're going to give Jim some time to come up here. He's got some issues he wants to talk about, so let's give him a round of applause for coming out here.
Thank you very much, Tim, and appreciate the last minute notice on being part of today's meeting. I know I was going to be here, and then something happened last week that changed it, and I was going to come in March, and that changed, so something happened late yesterday afternoon that freed up my schedule for this morning, and so I want to thank Deputy Director and the Chief of Ohio State Parks, Glenn Cobb, for joining me here today, and Glenn is probably one of the most familiar guys around the lake. He's been here, he was stationed here prior to Brian Miller years ago, and has done a great job, and we're taking advantage of Glenn's expertise not only in state parks, which we have 75 of them, but also a deputy director. As deputy director, he oversees watercraft, and him and Chief Roger Norcross get along great, and it's great to have Glenn part of the ODNR team. It's good to be here, especially when things are right now okay. When I say okay, we're catching fish. When you get a call from Dave Brunswick and he says, the fish are so big I can't get them through the hole. That's a great problem to have. And to see those pictures in the front page of the Daily Standard where there are shanties out there that in numbers that haven't been seen in a while is certainly something that we really hope stays that way. We're not going to make any promises. Everybody knows that we're at the mercy of Mother Nature. And so the ice may freeze for a long time, and it may cause situations. We may get a lot of rain this spring, cause situations. We may get heat that causes situations that are totally out of our control. But we're going to continue to try to improve the quality of the lake water, and we're doing that in many different ways. Not only in the lake, but out of the lake. And so there are a couple people here I want to point out from DNR, Terry Mesher and Francis Springer. These two have worked with the farmers in the watershed, and as of today, out of the 156 farmers that needed to comply with comprehensive nutrient management plans, 151 of them have submitted their plans. That leaves 5, and we have submitted chief's orders on those 5 farmers that did not get in compliance. Of those 5, 4 are pretty close to having theirs done, which is going to leave 1. So I think that they've done a remarkable job. Lori Walker with Mercer County, with the watershed coordinator with Mercer County Soil and Water, and Auglaize County Soil and Water, NRCS. This has been a team effort, and we hope to drastically reduce the amount of nutrients that are coming into this lake, and but that doesn't do anything on the nutrients that are in the lake, and that's where we're going to continue dredging. We dredged record amounts last year, record amounts, and we're going to continue that program, and of course we're going to continue to remove rough fish, and we're going to continue a lot of the programs we have in place. Before I get ahead of myself, I want to thank Tim Lovett for fitting me into the schedule, and Milt Miller, and all the board of directors here. You have great leadership in this group, great leadership. And I don't know of another organization that communicates with the directors and the office of the governor and other individuals in the federal level bi-weekly for the past 2 years. Bi-weekly. And that's something that we started right away when Governor Kasich became governor, and he appointed me as Director of Agriculture at that time. But the Director of Agriculture, the Director of DNR, and the Director of the EPA bi-weekly have a phone call with this group and discuss water quality and lake situation. And so that's how serious we take the situation up here, and we're going to continue to keep this a top priority. So Milt, and where is Milt?
Back here.
Let's give Milt Miller a round of applause. He's just doing a great job. So back to the watershed, I want to thank Jim Keller and the Ag Solutions Group. Similar to what you guys are doing here and your concern for the lake, they have a similar group of farmers that get together and discuss what can we do to improve, keep the nutrients on our land. And I gave a speech Tuesday of this week to the Ohio Agribusiness Association, and afterwards someone asked me, what have you learned from Grand Lake St. Mary's? And you know, there's a lot of things that we're learning on how to do things up here, but the number one thing is once we got on the same page, we start getting things done. Once the government, you, farmers, everybody got pulling in the same direction, I think we started seeing results. Now it's going to take a while. It's going to take a long time. We've had marginal success with our alum treatment the last 2 years. I don't know how much that has helped, but certainly it got us through the summers. But that's something we're taking a very, very serious look at this year. That's extremely expensive. And we've had experts say that, that the depth of the water and the amount of phosphorus that's already in the lake and the wind action to keep stirring things up, the success is marginal. And maybe money can be better spent trying to keep it from coming in. So we're going to be looking at that very seriously. But when you look at everything that we've done up here, the one thing that we know is that we keep on the right direction and we keep working together. We don't spend most of our time pointing fingers. This is an ag problem. This is a history problem. This is a shallow lake problem. This is a spillway problem. This is a gizzard shad problem. I mean, we could sit there for all days and every day, all day long, trying to figure out what's going on. There's a lot of problems, and we're going to hit them all on the head on, and we're going to continue to do that. So we're going to continue our dredging problem, our dredging situation, our dredging program, I should say. That's been very successful. What, 273 metric tons or something like that? 289,000. I mean, it's a huge number, and we're going to continue to do that. We're going to continue our lake level monitoring. We now have a good science downstream on what the beaver and the wabash, what levels they are, and with science and local input, we're going to continue to look at the level of the lake and see what's appropriate. And I believe later on in the meeting you're going to have more discussion on that. But that's also a very good program. And then we're going to continue to, a lot of the money that we have is going to determine on how much we spend on the other side of the spillway, to be quite frank with you. And as you know, we have lawsuits on the other side of the spillway. And we understand from the state Supreme Court that we have to buy a flowage easement. Nobody's arguing that. But paying for land that isn't flooded by the spillway, and paying for land that has a history of flooding from other sources, from either other watersheds, other lakes, or doesn't flood at all, is not a proper expenditure for the state of Ohio. And we're going to fight that. We're going to make sure that the farmers get what they're deserved, but if it's over, we're going to be up here at every case fighting for the citizens of the state of Ohio, because you're paying for that, not DNR. You guys are. And so we have a couple situations. We have one lawsuit that just got settled, and there's another one in the books. But and I know there was one of the lawyers for the opposer for the farmers. His name is Ingram, by the way, not Judge Ingram. So if any of you think that Judge Ingram said Jim Zehringer should come to his senses, that was Bruce Ingram, who's the lawyer for the other farmers, should come to his senses and settle all these cases. Well, we offer pretty good sums to settle these. Very, very healthy sums, but they're not obscene like what the lawyers are asking. And so we're going to continue to fight for the citizens of Ohio to make sure that the money spent is well spent and it's deserved. So we're going to continue on that front. So alum treatment, just briefly, there's going to be a US EPA report out mid-February on what the treatment is doing. And quite frankly, I think the report is done. It's in the federal level, but the guy that signs off of it is not going to be in the country till February 19th. And so we've been waiting for that report for quite some time, but we've already had experts tell us that your money could probably be better spent in controlling what's coming in and not relying on the alum as much as we have been in the past. So alum treatment is probably going to be a very slim possibility that's going to happen this year. So a lot going on, and I don't know, Glenn, did I miss anything that you'd like to add?
No, sir.
We're going to continue to look at fish stocking. I know the walleye have been biting well, and that's one of the things that we have to look at. I think we stocked that several years ago, 2 or 3 or 4 years ago, and I know there's been some saugeye. The saugeye, we've got to be very careful that it's a triploid. It's not a one that will breed in other waterways, and so we got to be real careful on how we do this. But this is something that we really want to help promote. I mean, anything we can do to help promote Grand Lake St. Mary's, we're going to continue to do. And Stan, I do have my ticket for the beach party coming up, and I'm looking forward to being there to help celebrate at Romer's, I think, mid-February. So with that, I'd just like to open up for a couple quick questions for either myself or Glenn. Any questions?
Do you recommend that I, as a homeowner on the lake, only apply fertilizer without any P at all? But yet the farmers in the watershed are allowed to apply not 50 pounds per acre, but 300 pounds per acre. Why is that? It doesn't give me much incentive to buy fertilizer without P when they can put in 6 times more than the ground needs.
Well, sir, I don't know really what the ratings would be on farmers that would apply 300 pounds per acre. I really don't know, but the way it is now, that if a farmer with a comprehensive nutrient management plan, that's what these farmers have, you apply what you need. So 300 pounds per acre I think is a lot, and I don't know if they're doing that, but certainly the way it is now, you're going to only apply the amount of fertilizer that you need. And some of these fertilizer levels, some of these phosphorus levels are high that they might not have to apply any at all. And so some of these farmers that have really not been doing soil testing for quite some years now see that, wait a second, I don't need to buy phosphorus. And that was one of the reasons that we're doing the comprehensive nutrient management plans.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, sir. Hey, thanks everybody. We'll see you at the beach party.